All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for either of these two Google searches. We're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always, FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, check the pinned post, home video, wherever you're at. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. And if someone's bringing in, their boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the left side, the highest intent, all the way to the right side, the lowest intent. Peeps all coming in, or at least becoming aware of their business. And if the boudoir photography business is falling, more than likely some chunk here along this intent spectrum is missing. We're missing out on those people. So over on the left, we got the highest intent people. That's what we're talking about here with these videos, talking about BSS. These are people, social search on social media, and Google search for like boudoir photographers in their city or boudoir photo shoots in their city. And highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps, and it's actually going to be the highest volume of people. And we're talking about those on our sister brand called Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there. And currently we're only working with boudoir photographers over there, running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this one, a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper. We're dead. At that point, we're dead because we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never make it to page 2. So people searching never even click to go to page 2. They are page 1 searches only, page 1 searchers only. As a result, this is who we got to get in front of. This is who we care about. We don't care about the 20%. They're going 10 pages deep. Don't care. We care about the 80%, the bulk of the market. So 0 slots, no bueno. 1 slot, also no bueno, because, there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers, it's basically, 1 slot for each. And guess what? A buyer, everyone looks the same. Buyer's just going to be clicking down through. And, basically price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone, driving the price into the ground. So, we're not even seen as anything special. We got 1 slot on page 1. Buyers don't see much of a difference between us and the other peeps. So it's literally like, we got BSS, we got a problem. And that's because 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, yes. Accepted, yes. Not normal, no. It is not normal to have so few number of page 1 links on Google. It's accepted, but it's not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are, 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Basically, everyone knows what market saturation is. Seems like every week someone's getting a new iPhone, throwing out their Google My Business profile, throwing out their website saying they now do boudoir photo shoots, competing with us for page 1, ranking on page 1. And then, or someone getting a new camera and then they're posting in the mom Facebook groups that they now do boudoir photo shoots as well. So that's market saturation. Also, big market saturation happened during COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, couldn't work, couldn't earn money, but still need to earn money. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera on it. So very easy for tons of boudoir photographers to enter the market, which means an increase in supply, increase in sellers. For the same number of buyers, demand remains the same. And guess what? We are making it harder for every buyer or every seller to get buyers if there's more sellers than the same number of buyers. And the biggest thing, though, here's number 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this false belief, page 1 equality, is when people incorrectly believe that, every boudoir photographer gets either, 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and when they, basically when they, a new boudoir photographer comes in, maybe they're on page 1, originally they're on page 1, a new boudoir photographer gets ranked above them, they get kicked off to page 2, and they're thinking, oh, that's simply how it is, hopefully that person deletes their website, maybe Google will put me back on page 1. So it's basically this acceptance that there's not really much that can be done. No, incorrect, false. I know this for a fact. Google will actually give as many page 1 slots to any boudoir photographer who wants them, wants to put in the work to acquire them, without paying for Google ads. And I know that because I actually went from 0 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google to 9 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google in 10 days using this new methodology that I invented. So false belief, page 1 inequality. The first thing is realize it's false. And we actually can take as many page one slots on Google as we want, which kind of like punches through kind of this brain box we were in. It allows us to see outside. Oh, and outside we do have one solution finally coming up in 2 pictures. But right now, we know that Boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing Boudoir photographer, a DBP. So yeah, if we got 0 slots on page one, we're disappearing because approximately 80% of the marketplace that searches on Google ain't never finding us on page two or deeper. Also, for page one slot on Google Organic, we're basically looking the same as everyone else. Going to be price shopped with like 9 other boudoir photographers, driving margins down, and just really screwing everything up for us. So disprint boudoir photographer, this one they have BSS, and that's because it's the canary in the coal mine. This is the first sign, kind of the first flag that eventually the boudoir photography business will be disappearing down the line as well. But luckily, we now have the solution. So we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology, and we know this because we invented it and we've already used it for ourselves. Now, S-cubed methodology, that's exactly what it said. It's exactly its name, social search saturation. We're going to saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, buyer keywords. So we pop up there. So buyer search there, find us first. It's kind of like the backside, the small streams, the small rivers of the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. And these all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is Google page one. So if we successfully social search saturate, then we'll be rewarded with as many slots on page one of Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And as a result, we actually this is actually the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that's able to stave off and actually allow boudoir photography business to continue to grow without, well, even in the face of market saturation, even in the face of massive market saturation. Now, the only other thing that could do this is brand, but that takes like 5 to 10 years to, assemble. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is coming to take people's jobs. We literally got to get maximum distribution, kind of a maximum digital land grab now, ASAP. And so, for SQ methodology, outcompeting market saturation, allowing us to continue to grow even in the face of it. Let's say we're in Chicago. There's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website center boudoir photographer, all trying to rank page one on Google, and we are saying, okay, the only way for us to successfully compete is we got to crank SQ methodology to the max. That's exactly what we do. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, and we take like the first 300 slots across all social networks for, let's say for those highest intent keywords. Now, let's also say this now flows onto Google, the Amazon River, and we're taking up the first 300 organic slots, Google organic search for those keywords as well. And every page on Google is 10 organic slots. So we're basically working on, taking over 30 first 30 pages of Google. So essentially for anyone to find our competitors, they literally got to scroll 300 places on social search or Google search. They got to go to page 31 on Google search. And dude, if approximately 20% of peeps are going to a Google page 2, basically ain't no one going to Google page 31. And so whenever a buyer searches their high intent buyer keywords, then what happens is we show up everywhere, and basically kicked all of our competitors out of the building. So even though there's a million boudoir photographers in Chicago, whose business is growing? Ours, because we cranked S-cubed methodology to the max, took over all the search real estate, social search, Google search, for the first 300 slots. And like our business growing, everyone else disappeared. They're disappearing. They can't successfully compete with us. And so again, this is why I said it's the only, and this happens a lot faster than brand. That's why I said it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully outcompete market saturation and continue to grow boudoir photography business. That doesn't require ads, because ads, their momentum goes to zero once you stop spending. S-cubed methodology has a momentum to it. It's not infinity momentum, but it's way more momentum than zero momentum once you stop spending on it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility, a bonus, kind of an initial benefit. Get more slots on Google. We're also kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one of Google, effectively making them invisible. They're relegated to page two or deeper, And we already know approximately 80% of Boudoir or of Google searches never even reach page 2. They're page 1 searchers only. So we're kicking them 4 out of the 5 buyers anyway on SEO. So that's an initial benefit. In addition to us getting more slots, we're getting price shopped against way less people because 4 out of 5 Boudoir searchers ain't going to page 2 anyway. Approximately 4 out of 5. Now, page 1 visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where we actually want to, this is where our GBC recommended, you know, we want to hit, GBC recommends a minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page 1 slots. So 3 out of 10. And as a result, we feel like that's where we can comfortably say, all right, well, most likely at least treading water here, maintaining, most likely not disappearing. And the highest probability is we're actually growing the business once we're getting 3 out of 10. And 3 out of 10, if everyone else is one slot, man, a Boudoir buyer seeing us with 3, they're gonna be like, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over again? They may only click us and not even click any of our competitors on that search. And then there's always a tiny, tiny, tiny chance someone will have 2 slots. So if we get the 3 out of 10 slots, we're good. It's basically like, if we get 3 out of 10, we're basically dominating 99.9% of all cases. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So it's our full universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality, previously unknown false belief, page 1 equality. But finally, thankfully, we have a solution. Thank the universe. We got S-cubed methodology now. We achieve page 1 visibility, and we become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. So it's our micro universe here. Now we're going to check out my results using S-cubed methodology. So I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So I went and I used S-cubed methodology, social search saturation. And see, organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots Google page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1. And this was purely using our S-cubed methodology. So now we're here to the main event, the main course. Going to see if this boudoir photographer has BSS for either of these Google searches, so local search and a city search. So let's see. So first look in Gretna, Nebraska. And we got, all right, so we're going to the organic search. So we got 1. Yeah, we got 2. Well, we don't have the word boudoir here. So we don't count that. Slot 3 here, we got boudoir, that counts as 2. Micro photography. Okay, we'll count the 2 without the boudoir. We'll count that as 1. So we got 3 out of 10 slots. Here we go. 4 out of 10 slots. Here's a boudoir. Here's a one that has boudoir on it, and boudoir right there. 5. And then we got and then let's see. Looks like we got 6 here actually. So we got 6 out of 10 for local search. So this is super amazing. And all right, so local search is perfect. And now we're going to go to city search, Omaha, Nebraska. So we're going to go down to the organic. Let's see how many we got local search as well. First for the city search. See, we got, all right, we got, nope. No. All right, so it looks like, all right, dude, we're literally pulling in 0 peeps from Omaha. So we literally got 0 out of 10. So we definitely got BSS for the second search, the city search. But so Gretna, no BSS. We actually hit the GBC minimum, at least 3 out of 10. And Omaha, Nebraska, we're not hitting the, we do have BSS and we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you got BS boudoir search sameness. So you got you're at 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google for local search and city search, or even, you haven't reached a 3 out of 10 GBC minimum, recommended minimum. And you now understand page 1 inequality was a false belief. And you're like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, actually it doesn't make sense. We can have as many slots on page 1 as we want, as we'll put in the effort for. And you understand market saturation, you'll buy new iPhones become Boudoir photographers, new cameras become new Boudoir photographers. But now there's a special third option, which is AI taking more and more people's job every single day. I mean, there's going to be more and more people entering the market, no job, becoming boudoir photographers because they already got the iPhone as a camera. Throwing up their website, throwing up their Google My Business profile, posting in the mom groups, and actually, potentially pushing us off page 1. So you're going to see that more and more. And you're seeing SQ methodology is the only thing out there that we can see that actually effectively renders market saturation not a non-issue if we successfully use SQ methodology. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page 1 slots on Google, because that's a result of saturating social search on all the search platforms already. That's simply the outcome. You want boudoir search visibility. And you also understand kind of the back-end bonuses of using SQ methodology, which is kind of the more thematic theme keyword columns we attach to our brand, kind of our usernames across social. The increased probability A, we show up here in AI search overview or AI overview, because we're getting these thematic keyword columns all built around us. And AI knows it because of it's pulling everything from social search, from Google. And so you want that higher chance of being here in the AI overview, kind of like the first main recommendation. It's kind of a bonus of using SQ methodology. And then the second bonus is you actually want the higher chance of showing up recommended for AI search, ChatGPT search, Claude search, and Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, people using AI search, which I haven't done in Google search, actually click and read a link in like a year. It's been all AI search. I'll use the Google AI mode feature. And so you're seeing all that. You want to achieve all that with SQ methodology. And you also know you want to be a first mover with this in your city, because you know that the more momentum, kind of the earlier you start, A, you'll get me exclusive leads for the city. B, kind of the thematic keyword columns that we'd start creating, these have momentum. It's not like ads where you just stop spending and they vanish. You lose your 1 slot Google, your Google keyword slot. Who cares about that if we can hit 6, 7, 8 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for the highest intent keywords? But we're actually building momentum in the background, because what we do to saturate social is kind of our strategy persists. It still exists even when no ad spend's being put behind it. So we're kind of building these thematic keyword columns in the background, higher chance we get recommended AI search. And you want to build these columns, kind of invisible thematic keyword columns, before all your competitors start to do it, because that will entrench you page 1 on Google, and maybe also bleed over into page 2 domination on Google and all search, all social platforms, and kind of prevent any new boudoir photographers coming into the market from ever ranking on page 1. And also prevent them from ever catching up to all these thematic keyword columns you have attached to you that cause you to be recommended in AI search. And you also recognize if someone else starts using SQ methodology with me first, you would then have to figure out how to recreate our proprietary methodology, and then you'd have to equal our output doing it correctly to even keep pace with us and our competitor we're working with, and your competitor we're working with. And then you'd actually have to outwork us to overtake our momentum we've already been building up invisible momentum with your competitor. So if you want all those outcomes, then shoot me a DM when the hospital opens for new patient intake. So hospital's closed right now, not taking any patients. No matter what you do, you can work with me. I will open new patient intake when I want to open new patient intake. And so if you want all these benefits, MySQL methodology is the solution for you. Shoot us a DM when we do open for new patient intake, and we will see. I'll ask you some questions. We will see if you qualify.